Welcome to the Danbury Democrats. My name is Gogliettino. I'm your host. I'm going to be talking to council people, Councilman Andrea Gartner, who's the legislative leader, and Ryan Hawley. We're going to be talking about a little bit about their campaign, and then we're going to get on to a special project that they both have been working on. So without further ado, we're going to bring them on, and they're going to give a brief background on themselves and how they got to where they are. So without further ado, let's bring them on, and they're going to give a background as to what I know. One of you was on zoning before you went to the council, and another one was on the board of ed, I think. If I'm not mistaken.
John, we're going to correct you there. Both of us have been on zoning.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. That was the last show. Okay. So, Andrea, since you're the legislative leader, you go first.
Yes, I guess it's age before beauty in this show. Yeah. Hi, my name's Andrea Gartner. I'm currently a council representing Danbury's 5th Ward on the City Council under Mayor Roberto Alves' leadership. Very proud to serve in this position. I have to say that the opening credits with all those pictures give me a big smile because it reminds me of all the wonderful Danbury Democrats that have worked very, very hard in the last years to get us to where we are right now, which includes both Ryan and I being incumbent city councilmen working with Mayor Roberto Alves. As John mentioned, I am the legislative majority leader, so I'm very honored to have that title. It's been a very interesting first term serving on the city council with a very robust Democratic representation. I feel like the record for the mayor and standing with him really speaks for the positive plans ahead for the city of Danbury.
Okay, now Ryan.
Yeah. Well, I kind of followed Andrea's footsteps. I first got involved in zoning back in 2019, and I've been an elected official ever since. I did 2 terms on the zoning commission, and then I'm, I guess, now wrapping up my first term on the city council and running for a re-election this year. I really believe it's important for young people to be involved in politics. I started this journey right before COVID, and now I'm almost 30 years old, and I'm like, oh my goodness, where'd the time go? But it's been an incredible journey to see the different waves that our Democrats have made over the years. And most recently, like Andrea was alluding to, under Mayor Roberto Alves' leadership, we've really been able to do some amazing things. I'm happy to be part of that journey. But yeah, happy to be here, John. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Now I know you're working on something. I was going to hit on some of the other things that you worked on, but you want to say anything about the roads? We've talked about it, but have you participated in any way with the road development or anything about the police increase in police that for years we were under recommended levels? And,
yeah, I guess I can jump in on that because even now being on the doors, I remember 2 years ago during the campaign that the quality of life issues in our neighborhoods and a lot of people were talking about the speeding cars, people not adhering to rules of the road, and how how they felt that made their neighborhoods more dangerous. And that was something we consistently heard, especially in the downtown neighborhoods. We took that back to our candidate, and when elected, this is one of his first priorities was quality of life issues in and around neighborhoods where families live, where children should feel safe to play. And the mayor has increased the police force. He's increased it more now than historic levels. He's always apt to point out that the police force when he took office as mayor was the same police force in numbers than when he was a teenager in Danbury growing up. And in the meantime, Danbury has grown substantively. I'm also very proud that there was an issue in the Fifth Ward with people not stopping. There was an intersection where there were often traffic accidents, sometimes rollovers, because it's a four-way intersection that only had 2 stop signs. Very quickly, upon taking the leadership in the city, the mayor's office addressed that issue. And at that particular intersection, since the changes of 4 stop signs, there have been no rollovers and no accidents. So these are real improvements that keep people safe and reduce harm.
Yeah,
Very good.
One thing I'll add to that is that when I was running for city council last year, or 2 years ago now, one thing I advocated for was that there needs to be a public list put out there of all the roads that are going to be paved over the next few years. And that list actually just came out about, I think, a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago, where there's actually a 3-year plan, or actually a 5-year plan, showing all the roads that will be paved for the next 5 years. Now that's interesting because usually before all this, it was election years where roads got paved, and then non-election years, some roads didn't get paved. But through the bond money that the public voted for and supported, we're actually able to pave 15 miles a year of roads. So I'm looking forward to seeing that actually come alive the next few years. If you go to the city of Danbury, you can find the list and maybe your road's on that list.
All right. Now, if people have any questions, let's put it in here, and then we can put it in again at the end. Your telephone number, if people have any questions, and or email, if you like to, starting with Andrea.
Sure. I ask people to reach out. Feel free to drop me a text or give me a call, 203-470-8005. There's also, both Ryan and I have City of Danbury email addresses. Mine is a.gartner, my last name, Gartner, at danbury-ct.gov. But I also encourage people to reach out in what I call my civic email, which is really work that I do for the community, often through people I know through the Danbury Democrats. And that email is my first name, Andrea, the number 4, then danbury@gmail.com.
Okay. Ryan?
Yeah, since I'm the millennial here, follow me on Instagram. That's my most active area. You can follow me at Ryan Hawley for FOR, like the word for Danbury. That's on Instagram. And then you can also reach out to my city council email for any matters that require my city council presence. That's r.hawley, HAWLEY, at danbury-ct.gov. Throw me an email.
All right, very good. I'm not 100% sure how long your report is. I got a few other things I want to throw in. So is it going to be like about 15 minutes, or what would you say, the report? Okay, well, we'll go. Well, let's start on the report. Who wants to go first?
Andrea, I think we want to talk about
more
our
about it.
third space discovery project. Yeah, want to take it away? We can kind of add.
Yeah, so I'm a long-serving member of the the Cultural Alliance of Western Connecticut. That's a regional arts advocacy group, as well as focusing on how business can support the arts and vice versa, how artists can be integrated into business opportunities, really with the aim of growing the economy and connecting people through the arts. So we have an initiative through the Cultural Alliance that was an outgrowth of funding from the Connecticut Commission of the Arts to work on a community problem, be able to solve it in $10,000 or less. It was a bit of a challenge, and That resulted in a workshop of which about 30 people participated. Ryan and I were both in that workshop. We were split up into about 3 different groups, came up with 3 different ideas per group. He and I were not in that same group, but we represented 2 groups that had ideas that were very synergistic. It ended up that the people within those group formed a new group, and we created a project called Third Space Danbury. And Third Space is really about reclaiming underutilized public spaces to be able to bring the community together. Our first one will be unveiled this September 6th. It's a Sunday. We invite everyone to come join us. It is in the 5th Ward at Rogers Park. It's called Third Space at Rogers Park. It includes a pollinator pathway garden and modeled sort of in the spirit of baseball, which is a big part of what happens at Rogers Park, and also includes a mural and chatty benches. This is an international movement to encourage people to connect in communities, and you'll see bright yellow benches which invite people, which signal to people that you're open to a conversation and welcome people to talk with you.
Okay, Ryan.
Yeah, it's a great initiative. This is our first pilot program. We got some funding from the city of Danbury to actually build this first program. We've been learning a lot going through the emotions of building out a community project. But the overall vision here, if you zoom out, is that we want to really expand this across all of the different wards in the city of Danbury and to make it a location in each of Danbury's 7 wards. And the idea of Third Space Danbury is to have a component of art, some kind of natural component like a pollinator garden, and then some of the chatty benches, and then maybe a little library type of thing. Everyone loves these little community placemaking projects. We've had really good feedback with every single motion that we've gone through with this. And I look forward to future funding opportunities to expand this across the city and really see this vision come to life.
Very good.
If I could also just add, John, I think that one of the bigger overarching things as well is to really provide opportunities within the community, within each of our wards, so to strengthen the neighborhood aspect of our wards by providing this space where people in their own neighborhoods have a place to go to, which is considered a third space. So the third space concept itself is centered around how we have our own primary spaces, which are generally where we live and the people we live with, and work or school environment. So you have primarily these 2 spaces, but what would you consider a third space where you can just be yourself? And, right. For me, that often means just, a walk in the woods. For some people, it might just be a drive with the windows closed, listening to a favorite song at a high volume. And so, we all really need for our well-being spaces that we can go to that are outside of our primary places and the people that we connect with in those primary places. So hence third space.
Right. Yeah. And that goes along with the improvements, the things that we had for years that were so overrun that in some cases that people stopped going there. And that is our parks and our ball fields. That weren't being used or underutilized, and during this administration, now they're up to snuff. They're definitely being brought up to speed. Any comments you'd like to make, Andrea or Ryan, on the improvement? We had one show that was like half of the show was on the improvements to the ball fields and the parks that we have.
One thing I'll throw out there is that going through this project of actually building out a park in Danbury, a little pocket park, is just the amount of support we got from day one from the mayor and his administration and the different community stakeholders that he's able to pull in for making these projects successful. So it's really encouraging to see some of our parks being expanded. And then even at Rogers Park too, we acquired Happy Trails Farm, which is now City of Danbury property. And there's a vision there that we have yet to tap into. Really, we can kind of turn the entire area and continue that revitalization of our public spaces. So look forward to seeing this journey as it unfolds.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I would like to add to, like, my day job is
Okay.
as executive director of the Norwalk River Valley Trail, which is really building this connective route that can accommodate pedestrians and cyclists from Norwalk to Danbury. The mayor's office has been extremely supportive, and while the nonprofit has been around since 2012, and prior to my taking the leadership role there in 3.5 years ago, over a decade's worth of effort had been made to make inroads in Danbury to establish the Norwalk River Valley Trail there. And it wasn't really until this mayor was elected that we were able to make really take substantive steps in that directions, and have the support. So we do have the funding in place to do, and that's through a Connecticut state DOT grant, to do a demonstration trail at Terry Wiles. So I would encourage people in the spring to look for those signs. It's a short section of the Norwalk River Valley Trail, really to give people a strong sense. But I think that speaks to our mayor's commitment to really make the outdoors accessible to people. It's a way of life issue, right? A quality of life issue.
Well,
Really, since post-pandemic, these opportunities to be outside, to be able to move and recreate safely and without hazards is really post-pandemic a must-have in communities, no longer a nice to have. And I love that our mayors embrace that.
another area that's being done just recently. In fact, I didn't notice it first. I thought it was just a section of the sidewalk that was being done, and then I noticed it seemed to be more extensive. Is the revitalization of the downtown? Do you want? Let's just go in order. Whoever wants to talk about it first. Ryan, you want to talk about it first?
I'll defer to the councilwoman from that area.
Okay. Andrea,
Yeah, so this is
how-
a multi-layered answer, and you should cut me off when I talk too long, because I could literally talk about downtown revitalization for an hour. For nearly a decade, I was the executive director of City Center Danbury, and it's been a long time since that has happened. But really, my heart has always been in trying to revitalize downtown. And it was actually my frustration with city leadership at the time that got me involved in local politics, because as much as people maybe on the ground and from a grassroots effort want to push up to fuel this revitalization, you really need leadership from the top down supporting it. So bottom up, top down, somewhere in the middle, really great things can happen. And that was a big frustration, and had continued to be. But again, this mayor is really taking the reins and, driving the horses to finally do some revitalization downtown. While the funding for those sidewalks and the plans for those sidewalks preceded his administration, they've been on a shelf. And he's implementing them. And it's not just because it's an election year. It's because he's committed to downtown revitalization.
Yeah. So, how extensive is it going to be? Is it going to be the entire length of Main Street, or that's what I've been getting questions. I said I'm not sure how much is going to get done. Do you know, Ryan? You want to say something?
I'll throw in something that's very apparent here. I got a lot of questions too. People are like, where did the trees on Main Street go? If you go down Main Street right now, there's a lack of some trees. And that was part of this sidewalk revitalization plan that Andrea and John were both referring to. Basically, a lot of the trees that were planted there 10 years ago, how many ever years ago it was, were not the most effective trees to be placing in a downtown urban corridor. Basically, the roots would grow this way instead of down, so it would destroy the sidewalks. And to mitigate the risks of potential lawsuits, items like that, broken sidewalks, causing harm to people, those trees were actually removed. And part of the plan is to plant trees that grow downwards.
Downward.
Destroying the brand new sidewalk and causing the cracks and everything like that. So that phase is coming later on here. First, they had to remove the trees and then rebuild the sidewalk. Then they'll be planting the trees. For the question of how long this is going to go down, I do believe it's the entire downtown corridor. I'm not exactly sure streets to streets, but the first phase of this was done during a previous administration in the city center area. So if you walk around that area, you can kind of see what the future of downtown Danbury is going to look like, and I'm excited for it.
That's good. And another thing I wanted to throw in here is the fact that whenever we build the firehouse, which was also part of that bond issue that was approved, whenever that firehouse gets built, the insurance rate, since that's my background, the insurance rate is going to go down. Whether it be 5% or something in that neighborhood, depending on how close you are to the firehouse, in that whole section of town, for the first time in years, it's going to be much lower. So that's a good aspect of it. I heard that they're working on it, but they've got bids on several properties, and the bidding process goes on for a while. And then the other thing, Andrea, do you want to report on how everything is progressing with the high school, the west side?
Yeah, it's only a half-hour show. I mean, if we were to talk about all the improvements that this administration's taken on in, the less than 2 years they've had the helm, it's so impressive. One of them, of course, is the addition of a new high school over on Apple Ridge, right?
Apple Ridge, yeah.
Yeah, on Apple Ridge. That ribbon cutting is coming up within the next 2 weeks. Teachers are actively preparing their classrooms. This is something that has been delayed. This is something that has been mismanaged in previous administrations. This is such a long time in coming. The Democrats have been talking about this gap in education. Previous administrations not really focused on adequately funding our public schools. Our mayor has gone up to Hartford. He has increased allowances for our public school education, and he has closed the gap that has been woefully, so big for too long. And I'm really optimistic. I think that has a lot to do with our mayor being the first mayor in 40 years, over 40 years, who has children in the public school system. He and Robin are committed. He and his wife Robin are committed to keeping their kids in the public school system, and I think that makes a big difference. And I am so glad that when his administration pushed real hard, expanded the finance department's capacity, brought in the resources that were needed to close out 2 backlogged city audits, which were threatening our credit and bond ratings. And he got those audits cleaned up, and revealed a $9 million overage and put that immediately back into education. I think these things really speak to the priorities and the character of this administration, of Mayor Alves and his team.
Things happen, people say, how could that happen? Well, they didn't do audits for 3 years to begin with. And then another thing that the mayor has done for the first term, he got $12 additional million that helped all this along. And then this past session, because of his trips to Hartford, which past mayors have said, oh, let's hire a
lobbyist,
legislative
a lobbyist. Yes.
Lobbyist, right? Hire a lobbyist, or we have representatives that can do the work, and they were barely talking to him. He got another 13 million this past term. So this is a workhorse, not a show horse.
Well, and accusations from oppositional people calling him a part-time mayor because he's out there in the state. He's also the Democratic Party chairman. I don't call that a part-time mayor. I call that an overtime mayor, because all those efforts certainly benefit Danbury, and not just the Democrats in Danbury. They benefit all Danburyans.
All Danburyans.
Yeah.
Because after all, local stuff, people want action. They want things done, and this has definitely been an action mayor, as opposed to somebody just sits in the office all day, puts in 9 hours or 5 hours or whatever they were doing, and goes home. Yep. It's way beyond even the first comment I made. It's way over 9 hours that he's doing.
Yeah. I'd say that he's a really hands-on mayor. He rolls up his sleeves and he's ready to do the work every day. And it's so passionate to be able to see a leader like him in Danbury. And I look forward to seeing him continue the great work he's doing here. So I'm very
once again, can you give your telephone numbers or emails, and then maybe you can tell us a little bit about your campaigns in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah. R.Hawley at danbury-ct.gov. Send me an email if you have any city council related business, or follow me along on Instagram or Facebook. It's Ryan Hawley for Danbury. You'll see my nice headshot there, and some updates that are coming up.
Okay. And Andrea?
Sure. You can reach me directly at 203-470-8005. And for city business, council matters, a.gartner at danbury-ct.gov, and anything related to the community or Danbury Democrats, as I'm also the vice chair of the Danbury Democratic Party, Andrea, the number 4, Danbury at gmail.com.
Okay, very good. So we've got about 3 minutes left, starting with Andrea. Tell us where you've been. You're walking. You don't have to say what streets, but you've been walking, whatever you've been doing so far, and you're going to continue until Election Day, I guess, right?
Of course. We're going to continue to amp it up and get the message of the good work that this administration has done. One thing that we're hoping that we can lay the groundwork for is to open the city charter for review. That is a long time coming. That was something that I feel the mayor's administration wanted to see take off. It did not, including because of some of our fellow Democrats, which is a little disconcerting, but we'll see post-election if we can't get that immediately on the agenda to open the city charter. Just continuing to make our local government more efficient, which is another hallmark of this administration's term so far. So I've been out there in the neighborhoods, in the fifth wards. It has been hot. I do get a lot of sympathy when I'm at the doors because of the heat, but in general, people feel very strongly in favor of the mayor. That's what I'm hearing. Some people are upset. They feel their taxes don't need to go up anymore. I want to remind people that Danbury's tax increase was less than the cost of living increase. So in essence, not really a tax increase because everything goes up. And we are nowhere near our surrounding towns with between 5% and 7% increase in our municipal taxes. So that's what I'd like to say about that. To people who are complaining about the tax increase, it really is nominal compared to our communities around us.
That was going to be the last thing I was going to bring up. Okay, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah. So
what are you up to? You don't have to say what streets you're on.
Yeah. So I believe the best campaigning is just doing the job that Danbury sent me to do. So I'm continuing doing my city council work, including advocating for one of the hiking trails that they're trying to build up in the 2nd ward, and really listen to my constituents' concerns and just show up at events, do different door knocking activities, and keep people informed.
All right, very good. Well, and now waving to me, so I guess it's time to go. And I want to thank you for coming on the show. And I want to thank the viewers for tuning in to the Danbury Democrats. We'll see you next week. Same time, same station.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.